The Sunday school lessons for May 4th, 2025 are David's Sacrifice and It'll Cost You Everything. First Chronicles chapter 21, verses 14 through 30. Welcome, viewers and subscribers, to my channel, Read With Me. If you are new here, please know that this is an audio reading of the lesson and the lesson summary. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, please do so and help this channel grow one viewer and one subscriber at a time. Verse 14. So the Lord sent a plague on Israel, and 70,000 men of Israel fell dead. Verse 15. And God sent an angel to destroy Jerusalem. But as the angel was doing so, the Lord saw it and relented concerning the disaster, and said to the angel who was destroying the people, Enough! Withdraw your hand. The angel of the Lord was then standing at the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. Verse 16. David looked up and saw the angel of the Lord standing between heaven and earth, with a drawn sword in his hand extended over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders, clothed in sackcloth, fell face down. Verse 17. David said to God, Was it not I who ordered the fighting men to be counted? I, the shepherd, have sinned and done wrong. These are but sheep. What have they done? Lord my God, let your hand fall on me and my family, but do not let this plague remain on your people. Verses 18 through 19. Then the angel of the Lord ordered Gad to tell David to go up and build an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. So David went up in obedience to the word that Gad had spoken in the name of the Lord. Verses 20 through 21. While Araunah was threshing wheat, he turned and saw the angel. His 4 sons who were with him hid themselves. Then David approached, and when Araunah looked and saw him, he left the threshing floor and bowed down before David with his face to the ground. Verse 22. David said to him, Let me have the site of your threshing floor, so I can build an altar to the Lord, that the plague on the people may be stopped. Sell it to me at the full price. Verse 23. Araunah said to David, Take it. Let my lord the king do whatever pleases him. Look, I will give the oxen for the burnt offerings, the threshing sledges for the wood, and the wheat for the grain offering. I will give all this. Verse 24. But King David replied to Araunah, No, I insist on paying the full price. I will not take for the Lord what is yours, or sacrifice a burnt offering that costs me nothing. Verses 25 through 26. So David paid Araunah 600 shekels of gold for the site. David built an altar to the Lord there and sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. He called on the Lord, and the Lord answered him with fire from heaven on the altar of burnt offering. Verses 27 through 28. Then the Lord spoke to the angel, and he put his sword back into its sheath. At that time, when David saw that the Lord had answered him on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite, he offered sacrifices there. Verses 29 through 30. The tabernacle of the Lord, which Moses had made in the wilderness, and the altar of burnt offering were at that time on the high place at Gibeon. But David could not go before it to inquire of God because he was afraid of the sword of the angel of the Lord. A brief summary. This cycle of David's life began with that promise of a dynasty and David's ensuing military success. But that success began to convince David that it was he, not God, who brought the blessings. David's sin with Bathsheba occurred during this period, but was not included here. This was not some sort of cover up. The incident was already well known and recorded in 2 Samuel. Another account that demonstrated David's state of mind and led directly into the conclusion of the book was featured instead. That account was David's ordering of a census. The implication was that if David knew the number of young men available for going into battle, he could brag about this great army. David rejected his trusted military leader's rebuke and fell into the trap of Satan. Just as the prophet Nathan told David of God's punishment for David's affair with Bathsheba, 2 Samuel chapter 12 verses 1 through 12, the prophet Gad spoke God's word in the matter of the census. But God even used this sin to fulfill his purposes. As a result, land for the temple was purchased. Thank you so very much for listening. Join me soon for the next audio reading of the Sunday School lesson and the lesson summary.